Before you go any further, listen to this. This is not just another message. This is for you. Yes, you. God is speaking right now. He sees what you've been facing. He knows the silent battles, the sleepless nights, the prayers you whispered when no one else was around. But hear this. He has not forgotten you. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Your prayers have not been in vain. Something is about to shift in your life. Suddenly. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will confirm what God has already placed in your spirit. It's time to receive, believe, and step into what's coming next. Let's dive in. God is preparing you for the next level. It's going to happen. Suddenly. God has been working behind the scenes, preparing you for a season you never imagined. The delays, the struggles, the waiting, none of it was wasted. You are being shaped, molded, and strengthened for what's coming next. And when it happens, it won't be a slow climb. It will be a sudden shift. Doors will swing open that you didn't even knock on. Opportunities will appear where there seemed to be none. Stay ready, because your next level is closer than you think. Seasons of waiting can feel like silence, but they are not emptiness. They are preparation. The trials you faced, the lessons you learned, and the faith you built were never in vain. God was stretching your capacity, expanding your faith, and increasing your endurance. He was getting you ready for a level that demands a stronger version of you. And now, you are standing on the edge of a breakthrough. The shift is about to take place, and when it does, it will be swift, undeniable, and full of God's favor. There is no obstacle that can stop what God is about to do in your life. When He says it's time, no opposition, no doubt, no delay can hold it back. What seemed impossible will suddenly become your reality. What you have been praying for, believing for, and waiting on will come rushing into your life like a flood. What took others years will take you months. What seemed delayed will now arrive right on time. God's hand is moving, and He is about to lift you higher. The enemy tried to break you in the last season, but God was using it to build you. Every challenge, every attack, every disappointment was setting you up for this moment. You didn't break. You didn't quit. You held on even when it hurt. Now get ready. God is rewarding your faithfulness. The very thing the enemy used to try and destroy you will be the thing that God uses to promote you. What was meant for evil, God is turning for your good. Your next level is already in motion, and the breakthrough is coming suddenly. When God decides it's time for elevation, He does not ask for permission. He does not wait for human validation. He does not follow earthly timelines. His power overrides all limitations. In an instant, He can change your entire story. The same way He took Joseph from the prison to the palace overnight. The same way He took David from the pasture to the throne. The same way He raised up Esther from an orphan to a queen. He is about to shift your life suddenly. People will be amazed at how quickly things change for you. The same ones who doubted you will have no choice but to see God's hand on you. You may have been overlooked, underestimated, or counted out, but God never forgot you. He was saving you for the right moment, the right opportunity, and the right season. And that season is now. The reason you felt pressure, the reason things seemed to intensify, was because the shift is here. A new level always requires a new mindset, a new faith, and a new strength. You are ready. You have grown. You have endured. Now God is about to open doors you didn't even expect, and the blessings will chase you down. Everything that was delayed is about to be delivered. Everything that was withheld is about to be released. The weight you carried, the burdens you bore, the nights you cried, God saw it all, and He is stepping in to lift you up. You are stepping into acceleration. Where you once saw roadblocks, you will now see pathways. Where you once felt stuck, you will now feel unstoppable. God is not just shifting you, He is launching you into a season of divine favor and abundance. Your story is not ending in struggle, it's shifting into victory. The season of waiting, the season of wondering, the season of pressing through is now transitioning into a season of harvest. Your faith made room for the miracle. Your endurance made way for the breakthrough. Now watch as God moves suddenly, bringing you into the fullness of what He has prepared. The next level is not just coming, it's already in motion. Stay ready. Stay expectant. God is about to surprise you. God is preparing you for the next level. It's going to happen. Suddenly. What God is about to do in your life will not take years. It will not be a slow, gradual process. It will happen suddenly. One moment things will look the same. The next, everything will shift. The opportunity you've been praying for, the breakthrough you've been waiting on, the favor you've been believing for, it's coming fast. God has already spoken it over your life. Now He's aligning everything for the right moment. You've been feeling the stretching, the pressing, and the waiting. But this is not a delay. This is divine preparation. When God elevates you, He doesn't just give you the blessing. He first ensures that you can handle it. That's what this season has been about. You are being equipped for the weight of your next level. The lessons you learned, the battles you fought, the patience you developed, these were all necessary. But now, the waiting is over. The shift is here, and God is about to launch you into a season of rapid acceleration. God doesn't need permission to bless you. He doesn't need the approval of man to elevate you. What He has spoken over your life will come to pass, and it will come to pass quickly. You may not see it yet, but in the blink of an eye, everything will change. The favor you need is already set in motion. The people you need to meet are already on their way. The doors that seemed locked are about to fly open. What once felt impossible is about to become your new reality. Don't be surprised when things start happening faster than you expected. You might wake up to an email that changes your career. You might receive a phone call that shifts your entire life. You might step into a room and suddenly realize that you are standing in the place God promised you. He is not just moving, He is moving suddenly. The enemy wanted to convince you that your waiting was wasted. He wanted you to believe that God forgot about you. But every time you thought nothing was happening, God was setting the stage. He was orchestrating a divine setup. And now it's time for the big reveal. Every delay was actually God's way of making sure you would be in the right place at the right time. Every rejection was a redirection to something greater. Now, the season of hidden preparation is ending, and the season of visible elevation is beginning. You didn't go through all of that for nothing. The tears, the disappointments, the closed doors, they were all necessary for where you're going. But now, God is turning your trials into testimonies. He is turning your pain into promotion. He is turning your struggles into strength. This next season will make sense of everything you've been through. You are not just stepping forward, you are stepping up. And when it happens, it will be undeniable. People will see the favor on your life and know that only God could have done it. Get ready for the unexpected. Get ready for the supernatural. Get ready for sudden elevation. One touch of God's favor can do more than years of effort. One divine moment can shift everything in your favor. The same way Jesus spoke, and the storm calmed in an instant. The same way Peter stepped out of the boat and walked on water. The same way God turned Joseph's prison sentence into a promotion overnight. He is about to do something in your life that will leave you in awe. This is not the time to doubt. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to settle. Stand firm, because your moment is coming. The winds are changing. The atmosphere is shifting. The very things that seemed out of reach are now drawing near. You won't have to chase them. They will come looking for you. You won't have to fight for it. God is handing it to you. You are about to experience a sudden transformation. The next level is not something you will have to figure out on your own. God is orchestrating it, and it will come to you. The right people, the right opportunities, the right doors will all align in a way that only God can make happen. And when it happens, it will happen suddenly. Stay expectant. Stay faithful. Stay ready. Because what's coming is bigger than you imagined, faster than you expected, and greater than you prayed for. God is about to do what only He can do. The provision is being poured out. The restoration is beginning. Get ready. This is your time to walk in the fullness of God's blessings. Every setback was a setup for greater things. The challenges were not meant to break you. They were meant to strengthen you. The tears you cried in private will be turned into joy in public. The pain you endured is making way for greater glory. Your testimony is being written, and it will be one of victory, not defeat. God is rewriting your story, and the ending is better than you imagined. The weight you have been carrying is lifting. The battles you have been fighting are ending. The Lord is stepping in, and when He moves, everything shifts. What took years to build, He can restore in an instant. What seemed like a delay was actually divine preparation. You are not being denied. You are being positioned for something greater. Your faith has not been in vain. Your prayers have not gone unheard. The same God who was with you in the valley is the God who is leading you to the mountaintop. You are about to step into blessings that will leave you in awe. You will soon say, "This is more than I prayed for." The goodness of God will overtake you, and all who see it will glorify His name. Keep believing. Keep expecting. Keep standing firm. The fulfillment of God's promises is on its way, and when it arrives, it will be greater than you ever imagined. Do not be discouraged by what you see. Do not let the delays shake your faith. My plans for you are still unfolding, and I have not forgotten you. The battle is not yours. It's mine. You do not have to carry this burden alone. You do not have to figure out everything on your own. I already have the solution. Trust me. I have never failed you before, and I will not fail you now. I am the same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who brought the dead back to life, and I am the same God who is fighting for you now. So stand strong. Keep believing. I am opening doors you never expected. I am moving mountains you thought would never move. I am preparing a blessing that will exceed your expectations. What I have for you is greater than what you lost. The waiting season will not be wasted. The struggle will not be in vain. Hold on, my child. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Stay in faith, because very soon you will see what I have been preparing for you all along. God is going to do something for you that is so unexplainable that your only answer will be, "God did it." You have prayed, waited, and wondered when things would change. But hear this. God is about to move in your life in such a powerful way that the only explanation will be Him. The doors that are about to open, the favor that is about to flood your life, and the breakthroughs that are on their way, no one else will be able to take credit for it. God is setting you up for a moment where all you will be able to say is, God did this. I couldn't have made it happen on my own. No person could have orchestrated this blessing. No plan of man could have aligned these events so perfectly. This is not just an ordinary blessing. It is a divine intervention. The kind of shift that turns sorrow into joy, despair into hope, and impossibilities into testimonies. God is positioning you in such a way that when it happens, you won't have to explain yourself. People will look at your life, shake their heads in amazement, and declare, only God could have done this. You may not see it yet, but even in the waiting, something is shifting. Even in the silence, God is working behind the scenes. He is arranging circumstances, touching hearts, and aligning situations in your favor. What seemed like delays were actually divine setups. What felt like rejection was actually redirection towards something better. Do not limit what God can do based on what you have seen before. He is the God of the impossible, the God of sudden turnarounds, the God of supernatural overflow. He is about to exceed every expectation, surpass every limitation, and break every barrier. What He is preparing for you will leave you in awe. People will question how it happened, but there will be no logical explanation. It won't make sense according to natural laws. It won't add up based on human reasoning. But that's because it is a move of God. His ways are higher, His plans are beyond comprehension, and His power knows no limits. The very thing that was a source of struggle for you is about to become your greatest testimony. The prayers you whispered in the quiet moments, the tears you cried when no one was watching, God has seen it all. And now, He is turning it into something so magnificent that your only response will be praise. When you stand in the middle of this blessing, you won't even have words to fully describe it. It will be the kind of moment that leaves you speechless, the kind of victory that can only be attributed to God. When people ask how it happened, your response will be simple, yet profound. God did it. Your waiting was not in vain. Your faithfulness has not gone unnoticed. God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him, and He is about to reward you in a way that will astound you. Get ready for an unexplainable move of God, a blessing so big, a miracle so undeniable that the only explanation will be divine intervention. This is your time. This is your season. Get ready to say, God did it. God is going to do something for you that is so unexplainable that your only answer will be, God did it. Something incredible is coming. Something so divine, so unexpected, so overwhelming, that the only words that will come out of your mouth will be, God did it. You've been through seasons where you questioned whether things would ever change. You've experienced disappointments that made you wonder if God heard your prayers. You've carried burdens that felt too heavy to bear. But now, God is stepping in. He's about to shift things in such a way that the struggle you've endured will pale in comparison to the glory He's about to reveal in your life. This is not going to be a small change or an ordinary breakthrough. This is going to be a supernatural move of God. It will be so beyond human logic that when people ask you how it happened, you won't be able to explain it in earthly terms. There will be no formula, no calculation, no earthly reason. It will be God's favor, God's hand, and God's perfect plan unfolding before your very eyes. For years you have prayed and trusted. You have waited, even when things didn't make sense. And now, God is about to show you that every moment of patience, every tear shed in faith, and every act of obedience was leading to something greater than you imagined. This next blessing won't just be for you. It will be a testimony to those around you. Your life is about to become a living, breathing example of God's power. When people see what He does for you, they will be inspired to believe for their own miracles. There are things shifting right now that you cannot see. God is aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in a way that only He can orchestrate. It may seem quiet now, but trust that divine movement is happening behind the scenes. One day, suddenly, it will all fall into place. You won't have to fight for this one. You won't have to force things to work. When God moves, doors open effortlessly. Resources come unexpectedly and solutions appear out of nowhere. This is not about human effort. It's about divine favor. You are walking into a season where things will happen that you never even prayed for. God is going beyond what you asked, beyond what you dreamed, beyond what you thought was possible. He is not just answering prayers. He is exceeding them. What's coming will leave you in awe. It will be so miraculous that you won't even have words to describe it. The only explanation will be, God did it. Get ready. The breakthrough is already in motion. Your testimony is about to be written. God has a plan. 13,000 words of powerful Christian motivation. No matter what you're going through right now, God has a plan. It may not look like it, but the situation you're in is not the end of your story. You're coming out of it stronger, wiser, and more blessed than ever. Even when life seems uncertain, remember this. God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything for your good. His ways are higher than ours, and His timing is always perfect. Don't let temporary struggles make you doubt the eternal promises of God. You may not understand why you are facing this trial, but trust that God is using it to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for something greater. The enemy wants you to believe that you are stuck, that nothing is changing, that things will never get better. But the devil is a liar. What God has spoken over your life will come to pass. What if the battle you are fighting today is the very thing that will unlock your biggest blessing? What if the closed door you're crying over is God's way of guiding you to a better opportunity? What if the struggle is simply part of God's divine preparation for the breakthrough that's just ahead? Trust the process. God is at work. Don't let discouragement take over. Don't let the delays make you doubt. Your season of breakthrough is coming. What you see today is not the final outcome. God is working all things together for your good. Romans 8:28. Maybe you're in a season where everything feels slow. You're waiting for answers, but nothing seems to be moving. But let me remind you, just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't working. His plan is unfolding in ways you can't even imagine. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't see immediate growth. There are days, weeks, and even months where nothing appears to be happening on the surface. But beneath the soil, the seed is taking root. It's being nurtured, strengthened, and prepared for the right time to sprout. Your life is the same way. God is planting seeds of breakthrough, restoration, and favor. It may not be visible yet, but something is shifting beneath the surface. You are on the verge of a harvest that will bless you beyond measure. God's plan is bigger than your problems. When life gets tough, it's easy to focus on the problem. It's easy to look at the storm and feel overwhelmed. But God is bigger than any storm. His power is greater than any challenge you face. Instead of focusing on the difficulty, focus on God's promises. He promised in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Did you catch that? God's plan is not to harm you, but to prosper you. That means even when you're walking through a valley, even when the odds seem stacked against you, God is leading you towards something greater. You might have faced unexpected setbacks. Maybe you lost an opportunity, a job or a relationship you thought would last forever. But let me tell you this: nothing that is meant for you will ever be lost. If God allowed something to leave, it's because He has something far greater ahead. Don't hold on to the past. Don't let disappointment keep you stuck. Lift your eyes to the Lord and declare, God, I trust you. I know you are leading me to something better. Your comeback will be greater than your setback. The enemy wants you to believe that your story is over. He wants you to think that what you lost will never be restored. But let me remind you today, God is not finished with you. You may have been knocked down, but you're not defeated. You may have experienced setbacks, but your comeback is already in motion. God is in the business of restoring, renewing, and redeeming. Just like Job, who lost everything but was later blessed double for all his trouble. Job 42:10. God is preparing to bless you in ways you never imagined. The struggle you're facing is not your final destination. It's just a chapter in your testimony. When Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers and later imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit, it looked like his story was over. But what happened? God elevated him to a position of great power and influence. The very things meant to destroy him became stepping stones to his greatest breakthrough. Your story will be the same. The trials you are facing today will be the testimony that encourages others tomorrow. God is turning your pain into purpose, your tests into testimonies, and your struggles into strength. The best is yet to come. If you feel like giving up, don't. If you're tempted to lose faith, hold on. You are closer than you think. God's plan is unfolding right now. Zrenia. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Your morning of joy is on the horizon. The nights of weeping, worrying, and wondering are not permanent. God is bringing you into a season of overflow, abundance, and supernatural blessings. You may not understand the journey, but trust the destination. You may not see the whole picture, but God is painting a masterpiece with your life. Keep pressing forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is on the way. Your best days are ahead. God's plan for you is bigger, greater, and more beautiful than you can imagine. Get ready. Your season of blessings is about to begin. God is preparing you for the next level. Trust the transition. Your next season requires a new version of you. Growth will cost you comfort, and elevation will cost you familiarity. Some people won't understand the shift, and that's okay. God is removing what's unnecessary so you can step into greater. Trust Him in the transition. What He is building in you is far greater than what you're leaving behind. Now let's go deeper. A new season requires a new you. You can't walk into a new season carrying the baggage of the old one. What served you before may not serve you now. Some habits, mindsets, relationships, and ways of thinking have reached their expiration date. God is calling you higher, but the higher you go, the lighter you must become. There's a reason why eagles fly alone. They are built for greater heights, and not every bird can handle the altitude they soar at. Some relationships in your life are seasonal. They were meant to help you grow, but they were never meant to go with you into your next level. Don't resist the transformation God is bringing. He is stretching you, refining you, and preparing you for something beyond what you can imagine. Your old way of thinking cannot contain the new blessings He has for you. The shift may be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for the breakthrough. The cost of elevation: leaving familiarity. Behind elevation requires separation. You cannot hold on to old places, people, or habits while expecting to step into something new. Sometimes God will remove people who no longer align with your purpose. You may experience loss, rejection, or moments of loneliness, but don't take it as a setback. It's a setup for something greater. When God calls you to a higher place, He also calls you to a greater level of faith. You may not see the full picture now, but trust that what God is doing is for your good. You're walking into something bigger than yourself. Letting go is hard, but what if the very things you're holding on to are blocking your blessings? Sometimes God closes doors because He has better ones waiting to open. But if you keep trying to reopen what He has already shut, you delay the new thing He is trying to do in your life. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God is doing something new, but you must let go of the past to step into it. Stop fighting to stay in places that no longer serve your growth. Stop trying to hold on to people who have already left. Your future is not behind you. It is ahead of you, and God is making the path clear. Before God elevates you, there is often a season of isolation. This is the time when He removes distractions, silences unnecessary noise, and draws you closer to Him. It may feel like a season of loss, but it is actually a season of preparation. If you feel isolated right now, don't mistake it for rejection. It's preparation. God is setting you apart for a reason. He is sharpening your gifts, strengthening your faith, and ensuring that when He places you in your next season, you are fully equipped for it. The process of growth is painful. It requires sacrifice. It requires endurance. But know this: God is not punishing you, He is pruning you. Pruning is necessary for greater fruit. It may feel like you're losing, but in reality, God is making room for abundance. He's removing the distractions, the toxic mindsets, and the dead weight, so you can fully embrace the blessings He has prepared for you. Your next level requires faith like never before. God may not give you all the details, but He is asking you to trust Him. You won't always understand why things are happening the way they are. You may feel like you're walking through uncertainty, but know that God is guiding your steps. The discomfort you feel now is temporary. The reward on the other side is eternal. Don't rush the process. Don't try to force things to happen. Rest in God's timing. He knows what He's doing. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Every challenge you're facing right now is preparing you for the breakthrough that is coming. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if he didn't know what God was about to do in your life. Stay firm in your faith. Keep pushing forward. The very things that tried to break you will become the testimony that lifts you. Your story isn't over. Your journey is just beginning. Final encouragement: keep trusting the transition. God is leading you into a season of transformation. It may be uncomfortable, it may be unfamiliar, but it will be worth it. You are not being abandoned. You are being positioned. What's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. Get ready. The shift is here. Step into it with faith. Your next level is waiting. When God calls you higher, you can't stay the same. God is calling you higher, and that means you can't stay the same. The version of you that worked in the last season won't be enough for what He's preparing. He's refining your character, stretching your faith, and molding you into someone stronger. This process may feel uncomfortable, but growth always does. Old ways of thinking will have to go. Fear will have to go. Doubt will have to go. You're stepping into something new, and new levels require new mindsets. Trust what God is doing. He sees the future you can't see yet. The shift won't make sense to everyone, and that's okay. Not everyone will understand the changes happening in your life. Some people will question why you're not doing things the way you used to. Some won't support the growth God is bringing into your life. But you don't need their approval. God's approval is enough. People who are meant to be in your next season will celebrate your transformation, not resist it. Don't be afraid to let go of what no longer aligns with where God is taking you. Some relationships, habits, and environments were for a season, not a lifetime. When one door closes, a better one opens. You may be facing closed doors right now. Opportunities you thought were for you might be slipping away. People you thought would always be there may be walking out of your life. But don't fight to hold on. God is closing doors that no longer serve your destiny. Every closed door is making room for something better. Trust that His plans are bigger than what you can imagine. What feels like a loss now will soon make sense when you see what He has prepared. The process might be painful, but it's necessary. Before God takes you to the next level, He will refine you. This refining process may involve loss, isolation, or struggle, but it is never without purpose. Think about gold. It has to go through the fire to be purified. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure. If you're feeling pressed, stretched, or tested, it's because something greater is being formed in you. God is strengthening your faith, increasing your endurance, and making sure you're fully prepared for the blessings ahead. Your faith will be tested before the breakthrough. Before the breakthrough, there is always a test. Before the blessing, there is always a battle.